Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something I think a lot of us have probably experienced at
Yeah.
some point,
Mm.
whether we want to admit it or not. Those kind of messy, confusing, draining, toxic relationship cycles,
Definitely.
they can really sneak up on you. And it doesn't have to be just romantic relationships, right?
Oh, absolutely. No.
It could
Even
be
friendships,
friendships, yeah.
family.
Family, colleagues even.
Yeah, definitely. Any kind of close relationship, really.
And it can leave you feeling so alone. Like, is it just me?
Right. Right. And I think that's part of what keeps people stuck
Yeah,
is that, they feel so alone in it.
totally.
But the reality is so many people are going through
Yeah.
this and there is hope.
That's exactly what we're here to do today. To
Exactly.
unpack it, to give you a clear guide,
Hmm.
not just to spot these cycles, but to really dismantle them, break free, and build something way healthier.
Yeah,
So we're going to the clarity and most importantly for you, the hope.
absolutely.
So when we say toxic relationship cycle,
Hmm.
what are we actually talking about?
Right. Well, let's define it a little bit.
Let's break it down.
It's a repeating pattern
Yeah.
of unhealthy behaviors.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Okay, yeah. So think about things like manipulation.
Like, what do you mean?
So when someone tries to control your thoughts or your actions or, emotional abuse,
Which can look like,
which, so many forms,
Yeah.
from constantly putting you down,
right.
criticizing you, belittling you.
Yeah.
Then you have gaslighting.
Oh, gaslighting is so tricky.
Well, it's one of the worst.
Because you start to question.
You question your own reality, your sanity.
Totally.
And then you might have experienced love bombing.
Ah, the love bombing. Yeah.
That
That is
intense
intense.
affection, attention at the beginning,
And then it just vanishes.
and then poof, it's gone.
It's so confusing.
And that's what makes it so hard to escape. It's this
Mhm.
repeating, predictable rhythm
Right.
that's so damaging.
Right. So it's not just like a one-off fight.
No,
It's this cycle.
it's a pattern.
So walk me through that a bit more.
Okay, so often it starts with this really intense phase.
Okay.
Could be like a whirlwind romance.
Yeah.
Or a deep connection that forms really quickly.
Feels so good at first.
It feels amazing, addictive even.
Almost like you can't get enough.
Exactly, but then
So in-
those negative behaviors start creeping
You
in.
mean example?
It could be constant criticism,
Okay.
trying to isolate you from your friends and family,
Oh, yeah?
or the silent treatment.
Ooh, the silent treatment.
Yeah, that's just
It's agonizing.
agonizing.
Because you're left hanging.
Yeah, you don't know what's going on.
And then just when you're at your breaking point,
Right.
they reel you back in.
They do with the, I'm so sorry.
The apologies.
Yeah, I'll change.
Maybe some grand gestures.
Grand gestures.
So you start to think, okay, maybe this time will be different.
You get that glimmer of hope,
Right?
but without real change. This
Yeah.
cycle just keeps repeating.
It's like an emotional roller coaster.
It is, with the highest highs.
And the lowest lows.
And just when you think you're getting off,
They pull you back in.
right back here.
So I want you to really think about this right now.
Yeah.
Does any of this sound familiar to you
Have you experienced this?
in any of your relationships?
Past or present?
Because awareness is really the first step.
It is, absolutely.
So why do we stay stuck?
Right, because it's illogical from the outside.
Totally.
But when you're in it,
Yeah.
the reasons are so deep.
Okay, so let's go deep then.
Let's do it.
One of the biggest things I hear about is this trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding, it's so powerful.
Explain that to me.
So these are intense emotional attachments
Okay.
that form through that cycle of abuse and reward.
Like we just talked about.
Exact.
The ups and downs.
So you go through something negative,
Yeah.
and then bam, sudden kindness or affection.
And your brain is like, what?
Then that inconsistency, that's the key.
Okay, it actually strengthens the bond.
It's like addiction
It's very similar to addiction.
because you're chasing that high,
You crave that high,
even if it means putting up with the lows.
and you tolerate more and more lows
It's messed up.
to get that hit.
And then you layer on top of that this low self-worth.
Right. If you don't believe you deserve better,
Yeah.
you might rationalize the mistreatment,
Or think this is as good as it gets.
that this is all you're worthy of.
And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
And sadly, the toxic dynamic itself reinforces that.
Oh, so they chip away at your self-esteem even more.
They make you feel lucky to have them,
And then, of course, there's the fear of being alone.
which is so understandable.
It is, because sometimes even a bad relationship
Yeah,
feels safer than the unknown.
right. It's like better the devil you know,
Exactly.
but it's a false sense of safety.
Because staying in that toxicity
Yeah.
long term It's not safe at all.
No, it's incredibly damaging.
Emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically.
And then there's the hope.
The hope for change.
You cling to those good
Of
times.
those promises.
And you think, okay, this time it'll stick.
This time, they'll really change.
But the evidence, it says otherwise.
It often does.
But that hope is so powerful.
It keeps you holding on.
And it makes sense. We all want things to get better.
We do.
But in these cycles, that hope is often exploited.
It's used against you.
And then something else that I think is important to mention is how our childhood experiences can play a role.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, if you grew up in an unstable environment,
Right, where your needs weren't met or there was inconsistency.
these toxic dynamics might feel
Familiar.
familiar. Yeah.
Because your brain seeks out what it knows.
Even if it's not healthy.
But even if it's harmful.
So just because something feels familiar doesn't mean it's good for you.
Exactly.
Comfortable doesn't equal safe.
It's so important to remember that.
It really is. So we've talked about why it's so hard to leave.
Yeah.
But now let's get to the how.
The how to break free?
This is what everyone wants to know.
Yeah. And it's a process, a journey.
Requires courage and commitment.
It does.
But it is possible.
Absolutely.
So first step,
Acknowledgement.
you got to see it to fix it.
Right. You can't address a problem you haven't identified.
So take an honest look at your relationships.
Past and present.
What are the recurring behaviors?
What are you tolerating?
What are you making excuses for?
And I would say,
Yeah.
write it down.
Oh, writing it down is so
It
helpful.
brings clarity.
Seeing it in black and white.
It makes it real.
Next step.
Get real about the impact.
What do you mean?
These relationships, they take a toll.
Okay, yeah.
It's not just fleeting sadness.
Yeah.
It erodes your confidence,
Okay.
increases anxiety.
Hmm.
You're constantly in survival mode.
Just trying to get through the day.
Yeah, riding the emotional waves.
So allow yourself to feel those emotions.
Don't suppress them.
Let them come up.
Journal about them.
Write it all down.
How those events make you feel.
The anger, the sadness, the frustration,
All of it.
it's all valid.
And it's part of your healing.
Because it's so easy to minimize.
Right. To say it's not that bad
But feeling it
validates your experience.
gives you the fuel to change.
Okay, so next.
Yes, this is a big one.
Creating emotional distance.
Yeah. This is essential.
It's often non-negotiable
For real.
to break free.
So what does that look like?
Well, it depends on the relationship.
Okay.
Sometimes it means no contact at all.
Blocking numbers, social media, the works.
Exactly, cutting off communication.
And in other cases, like with family.
Yeah, it might be low contact,
So limiting interactions.
setting strong boundaries.
But this isn't about punishing the other person.
No,
This is about protecting yourself
creating space to heal
and to get clarity.
without that constant pull.
And remember, gaslighting can really mess with your head.
It distorts your perception.
So getting support is crucial.
So important.
A therapist, a coach, trusted friends, family,
They can offer an objective perspective,
because you might be doubting yourself.
especially with gaslighting.
And those outside voices, they can be like an anchor
They remind you that your feelings are valid,
that you deserve better.
and they can help you see the situation more clearly.
Okay, once you have some distance
Hmm.
and you've got your support system in place,
Then you can start rebuilding your self-worth.
this is huge
This is foundational.
because you've got to believe you deserve better.
Exact.
So what can people do?
Well, engage in activities that affirm your value.
Okay, so things that make you feel good.
Things that remind you of your strengths.
Yeah,
Start setting small boundaries.
like what do you mean?
Saying no to things that don't serve you.
Okay,
Keeping promises to yourself.
that's a good one.
Because that builds self-trust.
So if you say you're going to do something for yourself,
Do it.
follow through.
It shows you that you're reliable.
And it's about treating yourself with kindness,
Compassion, respect.
like you would a good friend. Okay, but sometimes to really break free,
Mm-hmm.
we have to go even deeper.
We have to look at the root.
Those underlying emotional wounds
That might be making you vulnerable.
to these toxic patterns.
Because they often stem from things like
Yeah,
abandonment, rejection.
that feeling of not being good enough.
Then those wounds can lead you to seek out or tolerate unhealthy dynamics that feel familiar.
Because it's what you know.
It's what your subconscious expects.
And the good news is,
There are ways to heal those wounds.
so tell me more about that.
Well, there are therapies like inner child work,
Okay.
different types of talk therapy. EMDR can be really helpful
So there are tools and support out there.
to address those deeper issues.
Okay, so once you start healing those wounds,
Mhm.
what's next?
You need to create a new blueprint
A blueprint for what?
for what you want in your relationships.
Oh, I like that.
Define what a healthy relationship looks and feels like.
Not just romantic, but all relationships.
All of them.
So what are your non-negotiables?
What does respect look like to you?
Open communication, support.
Trust, safety.
Don't just focus on breaking the old cycle. Build a new, healthy model
Be proactive. Define what you deserve.
and what you will accept.
No more settling?
Now, let's be real for a minute.
Okay.
Breaking free, it's not a walk in the park.
It's tough.
It can feel like withdrawal.
Remember those trauma bonds?
Yeah, you might miss the person.
Even miss those good moments.
And feel tempted to go back.
Especially when you're feeling vulnerable.
Loneliness can be a trigger.
It can.
But remember, those feelings are normal.
They are.
It doesn't mean you should go back.
It just means you're healing.
And most importantly, if you feel the need to leave, that's not you being crazy
No.
or overreacting
Not at all.
or too sensitive.
It's actually a sign of growth.
You're becoming aware.
You're recognizing your worth.
You want something better.
And you deserve something better.
And every time you choose peace over chaos,
Every boundary you set,
every time you prioritize your well-being,
you're rewriting your story.
you're breaking free from those patterns.
And sometimes even generational patterns.
That's powerful stuff.
It is. It's about taking your power back.
So let's recap.
Okay.
Toxic cycles, they can happen anywhere.
Romance, friendships, family.
They can feel addictive, hard to escape.
But they're not unbreakable.
Remember, acknowledge the patterns.
Create distance.
A distance.
And heal those deeper wounds.
Healing takes time.
Patience.
Self-compassion.
And every step you take is significant.
We really encourage you to engage with this topic.
Yeah, if anything resonated with you.
Share your thoughts.
In the comments.
Send us a message.
Talk to someone you trust.
Sharing your story can be healing.
It can.
And most importantly, remember, you are worthy of healthy, peaceful, joyful love.
In all your relationships.
You are not broken.
You are healing.
And that's a beautiful thing.
It is.
Our next deep dive will be exploring
Practical strategies for setting boundaries.
in all areas of your life,
So how to say no.
how to protect your energy.
We hope you'll join us for that.
Until then,
Take good care of yourselves.
keep nurturing yourself.
And keep breaking free.
You've got this.
You do.